Patch 129 was a bit of a blessing and a curse, mostly a curse, but after a few smaller updates and tweaks, has the game actually improved? Or is it just the same shit, different day? Well, let's do a full non-BS breakdown. If you liked the video, please leave a like or a subscribe, it really helps me out. But without further ado, let's get into the video. One thing's for sure, this playthrough is going to be intense. God, I hate myself for that. I need to preface this video by saying that this is just my personal experience on playing PC and console. If you have a different one, please let me know in the comments. It's very important we talk about these things. When Bohemia Interactive first revealed Update 129, the headline was impossible to ignore. A claimed server performance increase of up to 400% on high pop servers. On paper, it sounded like one of the most important technical updates DayZ has ever received. It wasn't about new weapons or flashy mechanics, it was about fixing the foundation of the game itself and introducing an entire native version to the Xbox console. And yeah, it was not good. And instead of everyone talking about dramatically smoother gameplay, social media and Reddit quickly filled with clips of new bugs, complaints about performance, and one guy decided to share a picture of his nipple. Did anyone else see that? Can anyone explain why we had to see that? Even vehicles continue to be one of the biggest talking points. DayZ's relationship with cars has always been complicated. And according to some posts after 129, players still encountered situations where driving simply didn't inspire confidence. This is where it's important to separate two very different things. Server performance and player experience are not always the same thing. A server can technically be performing far better internally while players are still seeing hitching, frame drops, and client-side issues. If Bohemia's server optimizations genuinely delivered what they claimed, that doesn't automatically mean every player immediately experiences a smoother game. Those are two different measurements. That being said, I'm pretty sure the server side matched the player experience. Anyway, to cut it short, over the following weeks and months, they released hotfixes targeting many of the issues players had identified. They weren't the kind of fixes that generate headlines, but did exactly the sort of maintenance that slowly rebuilds confidence in the update. So the question becomes, has DayZ finally become stable again? Now I'll talk about PC and console because they are two different experiences from my personal experience. On PC, I think there's a strong argument that it is in a far better place than it was immediately after 129 launched. There's been lots of bugs and lots of stability issues that seem to have been corrected, and it is a much nicer experience. Perhaps more importantly, there simply aren't as many widespread reports now describing 129 as a disaster, which looks to be very promising for the Badlands DLC. But honestly, it's still not perfect, and there's still loads of things that need to be ironed out, and it can be frustrating when you play in the game and certain things happen. So it's better than it was, but that doesn't mean it's perfect or smooth or you're not going to run into bugs. Especially desync, which hasn't magically vanished forever. This is still DayZ, and I'm not going to sit here and say it was a completely smooth experience, but it was much better than it was at 129, though that was an incredibly low bar. So is it stable? Yes, it's much more stable. Is it smooth? No. For many players, it still isn't. Console is a little more difficult to judge. The native Xbox Series X and S version was a genuinely important step forward, giving Bohemia a proper current generation platform to optimize instead of relying entirely on backwards compatibility. That's a huge long-term win, and people have been asking for years for DayZ to improve the stability of the game overall. And when you do things like that, things like this can happen. So I do think it's growing pains more than anything else. And I'm fine with growing pains as long as you can reach the beer off the top shelf once you're done. However, console players also seem to experience the roughest launch period after 129 released. Reports of stuttering, inconsistent performance, and instability were much more common during those first weeks. The hotfixes seem to improve it somewhat, but there still is a lot of negativity from players who are experiencing different things. Now, for me, when I played it, it was quite smooth as far as DayZ is expected to be, but it was far from perfect. There were lots of annoying bugs, and just because I had a good few weeks on it doesn't mean that everybody else did. It's just how games work. But I think it's way better than it was about a month or so ago. I made a whole video about it. It was really annoying. I'm not going to get into it, but it for me made DayZ unplayable on Xbox. So is DayZ completely stable? Well, probably not. Is it significantly better than it was when 129 launched? Oh god, yes. But that doesn't mean you're not going to experience issues. But what's your experience? Let me know in the comments. And if you want more content, then click here. Or for something else, click here. And as always, until next time.